I moved into my new house last year during winter. It was a beautiful, spacious home with a big backyard. It was my first time ever buying a house, and I was excited to finally have a place of my own. However, moving was a bit of a hassle since I was alone, so I had to move everything by myself. On the day of the move, I woke up early and loaded up my truck with all of my belongings. The snow was coming down hard, and the driveway was covered, so I had to shovel it all before I could start bringing the boxes and furniture inside. It was a tedious and exhausting process, but I managed to finish by dinner time. After a long day of moving, I was exhausted, and my bed was not yet set up, so I slept on the couch downstairs. It wasn't the most comfortable couch, but it would do for the night. As I was trying to fall asleep, I heard a strange noise coming from outside. It sounded like someone was walking up to my porch. I sat up and listened carefully, looking at the front door. The sound stopped just before they reached the door, though. I waited for a while until I thought I was just hearing things and ended up falling asleep. The next morning, I woke up to find that the front door was unlocked. I was certain I had locked it before bed. I checked for any signs of someone walking around outside, but there wasn't anything. I dropped off the truck, then spent the whole day unpacking and setting up the rest of the furniture. At 6, I went out for a quick dinner and got home around 7. As I pulled into my driveway, I saw something strange in the snow outside my house. There were footprints in the snow leading right up to my front door. I looked all around and tried to follow the footprints from where they came, but they ended by the sidewalk, which had already been shoveled. I finished the last of the unpacking, and before bed, I checked all the doors and windows. I walked up to the front door and immediately noticed it was unlocked again. I got my key and tried it, making sure it worked and couldn't be unlocked without it. But sure enough, everything seemed to work just as it was supposed to. I was confident I'd locked the door and kept it locked all day. I just didn't understand why this was happening, though. Nothing was missing from the house, and there were no signs of an intruder. As the days went by, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off in my new home. It felt like someone was watching me, and I couldn't explain why. I kept finding the front door unlocked, even though I was sure I had locked it. I tried to brush it off, but the feeling of unease lingered. One night, as I was getting out of the shower, I heard something downstairs. It was soft and hard to distinguish, but I knew I had heard something. Usually I would assume it was nothing, but with everything going on, I had to check. I got dressed and walked down the stairs slowly. I turned the corner around the stairs, and right in the hallway was a man. He was facing me, standing still with the front door open behind him. I was in some sort of shock, frozen in place. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. After a moment, I sprinted back up the stairs and locked myself in my room. I didn't hear him following me, but I was still terrified. Then I heard footsteps walking through the rooms downstairs. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I knew I had to call the police. I took this chance to call the police as the man downstairs continued walking around. My hands were shaking, and I could barely keep the phone steady. I explained the situation to the dispatcher, and they told me to stay on the line while they sent someone over. As I waited for the police to arrive, I could hear the man moving around downstairs. I didn't know what he was doing or what he wanted, but I knew I had to stay hidden until help arrived. I huddled in the corner of my room, clutching my phone tightly, and praying that the police would come soon. After what felt like an eternity, I heard the front door slam shut and the footsteps leaving the property. I waited a few minutes before opening my door and walking down the stairs. The house was empty, and there was no sign of the intruder. I was relieved that he was gone, but the fear and anxiety didn't dissipate. When the police arrived, they searched the entire house but found nothing of use. They suggested putting up security cameras and changing the locks on the door. I did both, but the man never came back. Despite the fact that the intruder was gone, I never felt safe in my new home. Every creak and noise sent shivers down my spine. I felt like I was being watched, and I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. I started staying with friends and family, too scared to be alone in my own house. After a few weeks of living like this, I decided to put my house on the market and move out. I couldn't stay in a place that made me feel so unsafe and anxious. It wasn't worth the stress and fear. When the new owners moved in, I wanted to warn them about what had happened to me, but I didn't want to scare them. I hoped that they would never have to experience what I had gone through. As I drove away from the house for the last time, I felt a sense of relief and sadness. I was relieved to be leaving the house behind, but I was sad that my dream of owning a home had turned into a nightmare. Looking back on that experience, I realized that I had taken my safety for granted. I had never thought that something like that would happen to me, but it did. I learned to always be aware of my surroundings and to trust my instincts. It's better to be safe than sorry, and I will never forget that lesson. In the end, I found a new home in a different neighborhood, and I feel safe and secure there. It's not the dream home I had imagined, but it's a place where I can relax and feel at peace. I will never forget the fear and anxiety that I experienced in my old house, but I am grateful for the lessons that it taught me. It's been a year since I moved out, and I thought that I had moved on from the incident. However, a few days ago, I received a letter in the mail. It was addressed to my old address, but with my name on it. I opened it up, and inside was a note from the intruder. He wrote that he had been watching me for a while and that he knew all about me. He said that he had been in my house several times while I was sleeping and that he enjoyed watching me. The note was disturbing and sent chills down my spine. I called the police immediately, and they came over to investigate. They searched the house again, but they didn't find any evidence of the intruder. They told me to stay with friends or family until they could find him. I'm scared and worried that he'll find me again. I thought I had left that nightmare behind, but it seems that it's not over yet. I can't help but feel like I'm being watched again. Every sound, every creak in the night makes me wonder if he's back. The police have been keeping me updated on the investigation, but so far they haven't found any leads. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering if he's following me. I've been staying with friends and family, but I know that I can't do that forever. I'm scared to go back to my old house to pack up my things, but I know that I have to. I can't let this intruder take control of my life. I've decided to hire a security company to come with me and make sure that everything is safe. As I walked through the empty halls of my old house, I couldn't help but feel like I was being watched. I felt like he was there, lurking in the shadows. But with the security company by my side, I felt a little bit safer. As we were packing up my things, I noticed something strange. There was a small hole in the wall, almost hidden behind one of the picture frames. I called the security guard over to take a look, and when he shone his flashlight inside, we both gasped. There was a small camera hidden inside the hole, pointed directly at my bed. I couldn't believe it. He had been watching me all along, even when I thought I was safe. The security company immediately called the police, and they came over to investigate. It turns out that the intruder had been in my house several times, as he had mentioned in the note. He had been watching me through the camera and had even been taking photos of me while I slept. The police were able to track him down, and he was arrested. The intruder turned out to be a neighbor who had been watching me for a long time. He had become obsessed with me, and he couldn't control himself. It was a terrifying experience, but I was relieved that he had been caught. The police told me that they had found evidence that the intruder had been planning to break into my new house as well. I was glad that I had hired the security company, as they had prevented him from doing so. It's been a few months since the incident, and I'm still recovering from the trauma. However, I feel a little bit safer now that he's behind bars. I've learned to always be aware of my surroundings and to trust my instincts. I've also installed a new security system in my new house, and I feel much more secure now. The experience has made me realize that safety should never be taken for granted. I'm grateful for the lessons that I've learned and for the support of my family and friends. I'm looking forward to moving on from this experience and starting a new chapter in my life. As I sit here, reflecting on my terrifying experience, I can't help but wonder how many others have gone through similar situations. The thought of someone watching you while you sleep, invading your privacy, and making you feel unsafe in your own home is truly chilling. If you've experienced something similar or have a scary story of your own to share, I encourage you to join our Telegram group. It's a community of people who share their own chilling experiences, read other people's stories, and discuss these events. It's a safe space where you can talk about the things that scare you and connect with others who have gone through similar situations. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more. The link to the Telegram group is in the description below. Stay safe and remember, you're never truly alone.